Pro day season is all but wrapped up. Just a couple of workouts left. Will Johnson, Michael Williams, and Jalen Walker, Cam Williams at Texas, Phil Maffa at Clemson. Just a few workouts left until the draft process is nearly complete and the final conversations are had before draft day. We're just 2 weeks away from the 2025 NFL draft. I'm Cody Carpentier with the Draft Drinking Show, here every single morning at 7 a.m. Eastern time. I appreciate you guys tapping in on YouTube. If you do, this thing has grown way more than I ever expected. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And on podcast, thank you as well. It's continuing to grow in all facets of the game. There's no better season than draft season. So we're up to 61 days consecutively doing shows. Can't thank you guys enough for tagging along throughout the entire process. Today, we're just going to do a little end of pro day season recap here. A couple of workouts this past week to really mention, though. Like I said, Montana was the final workout that took place on Thursday, the 3rd, up in Montana. Nevada was on the 1st. Albany were on the 1st. UC Davis, Sac State, guys that participated on the 31st. Results are still trickling in for a lot of these workouts. Some of the latest workouts that we do have: Mississippi, Ole Miss, Penn State from about a week and a half ago now. We're still waiting on some other stuff, though. The biggest note that I want to talk about, though, today is the Colorado Showcase, because I think this is a big deal. 2 years ago, the Big 12 announced that they were going to do a Big 12 Conference Pro Day, which they did. They did that about, a month and a half ago? A month ago? It was like the 18th or something, right? All these teams worked out together at the Star in Dallas, which is sort of not the headquarters, but the central space for the Big 12 Conference. Colorado was there. Dion was there. Everybody was there. Shedeur did not throw that day. They do a Colorado Showcase, and it was a showcase. Now, remind you, the history of the Pro Day and the concept of Pro Day in totality has nothing to do with the school. Alex done that from Roster Watch, my good friend, will always tell me. He said, when you reach out for Pro Day credentials, you have to reach out to the SID, you have to communicate with the school, and they can't technically tell you no unless it's a capacity issue. If it's a capacity issue, they can, but in reality, they can't block you from doing your job because the SID, truthfully, doesn't have that power because the event is being held generally on the campus, but it's not a school-affiliated workout. It's just an NFL workout day put on by the players and by the scouts. So the players show up and it's put on by the scouts. If you go to these events, you'll know there's no coaches associated with it. The SID's running around kind of conversing with media, but it's literally all scouts, all NFL scouts running the workout. So again, if no scout showed up, there really wouldn't be that much of a workout because you're not working out for anybody. You're generally made to work out for the scouts. Anyways, I found it interesting that Colorado held this showcase at the end of this last week because it was cool. It was nice to see. They had a lot of signs and balloons and all this stuff, and they made it a big ordeal, as they should, because it's Dion and they're trying to be different, right? They're trying to have a spring game against a different team. They're trying to make it a joint practice. They're trying to showcase their players. I totally get it. And we got some of the results in for some of the players, but like we saw Will Shepherd jump to, I think he got 40 inches this time around. I think when he jumped in Frisco, I think it was 38 and a half maybe was his jump. He had 38 and a half inch jump in Frisco. He got that thing now to 40 inches, which is big for a receiver that did not get a combine invite. I wonder what this does for the landscape of the sport, because the Pro Day in totality feels like it's dying, feels like it's almost dead, and that it's generally quarterback centric. And most of these Pro Days, unless it's something like an Ashton Genty or something like this, it was not very highly regarded this year. Like there was, you couldn't tell me offhand what happened at the Penn State Pro Day. You couldn't tell me offhand what happened at the Minnesota Pro Day or what happened at Texas A&M Pro Day. Unless you have an attachment or you care about a specific player and you sought out those results. It's just not a thing. It's not a big deal. Something needs to change about the pro day process. I don't know if it is becoming a showcase, if it's becoming all these conferences just do the conference pro days and you actually force these players to throw against each other and you disallow not private, but you disallow them to do what Colorado did, where it's like Colorado went outside of the conference. The conference held a pro day. Colorado participated in it, but then they had another workout by themselves. Again, you can't really stop it. The NCAA can't really do anything about it because it's put on by the scouts. It's interesting, but I just wonder. The NFL always wonders, and that's how they've kind of taken the combine now. If they can monetize it, they're going to monetize it. I just wonder, based on this Big 12 testing the last 2 years where they've put it on NFL Network, I don't know what the ratings are, don't really care, but if the NFL cares and if the NFL is getting any type of rating, I have to assume they're only going to continue to try and push this thing and push it and see what they can do from a television standpoint. The SEC Network always has all the SEC pro days, the Alabamas, the Auburns, the Texases, all these big pro days. So that's what they've been doing. They've been putting those on SEC Network, but I think it's interesting. My result thought from actual pro day results is even more interesting that when you come away from the Shedeur day, for me, I have Shedeur at quarterback too, have been, will. I have a late first, early second round grade on the quarterback from Colorado, Shedeur Sanders. He's fine. I really like him. I like his mentals more than I like maybe his overall talent. I think his arm is good. I comped him to Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Brees, two guys that are very wired up top. Teddy Bridgewater's been in the league for, I don't know, going on a decade now. He gets out, he goes and coaches a high school team to a state championship. The next day, he signs with the Detroit Lions. Drew Brees, a little more of a vocal leader than Shedeur, maniacally smart, underwhelming arm strength, but was always able to succeed even in a Sean Payton offense where he's sitting Devery Henderson, Ted Ginn, all these guys on these deeper throws. Because he's not pushing the ball 65, he's pushing the ball 40. Shedeur can do those things. Shedeur can be a Teddy and a Drew Brees. Both of those guys went 32nd overall in their respective NFL drafts. I thought it was interesting to hear guys like Todd McShay come out and say that he was very underwhelmed by the pro day. I think it's interesting that Alex Dunlap says that he thought Shedeur was fantastic. I think it's interesting to see players like Andre Sisco from the Jets come out and say, patting the ball a lot, buddy, patting the ball a lot, touching the ball a lot, doing a lot. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then you have like the Tennessee Titans who were at the Cam Ward pro day a couple week and a half ago. And the buzz was immediately Titans are done with the process. Giants went out and signed a quarterback. And then post Colorado pro day, they canceled their official private workouts with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. The results are in. Cam Ward's number 1 overall. We've been knowing this. So there's that. Penn State pro day, not a lot of takeaways. Tyler Warren didn't do anything. I do wonder about this arm length thing, 31 3/4 inches. Historically, there's only been one player with under 32-inch arms that has been a Pro Bowler. That was Zach Ertz. Interesting. Ole Miss pro day, we talked about that last week. Jackson Dart did well. I just wonder. I wonder as more results continue to come in from these pro days, man. It's bewildering. I know today's show centered around the Colorado pro day and just pro days in general, but I have real worry and real thought about pro days and what happens because we're already missing out on guys at the combine. They show up, they do their medical testing, but they don't do their athletic testing. A lot of guys have been surpassing on that. Pro days aren't getting near enough conversation these days, but one tight end that should, and I'll get you out with this, is Carter Runyon from Towson, a guy that was at the Shrine Bowl, very impressive, undersized. He's not going to hit in year 1. He's probably not going to hit in year 2, but he ran a 4.62 at his Towson Pro Day, a 7 flat, 3 cone, 22 bench reps, 36.5-inch vertical. Carter Runyon from Towson. It's one of my favorite sleepers in this draft class. He's probably going to go off the board in the 6th round, 7th round. But, man, a guy like Carter Runyon, Michael Pruitt, Dalton Schultz, these guys that just make rosters. They're just good football players. Maybe not valuable for you fantasy football gamers, but Carter Towson, DAWG, dog.